Hello friends and welcome back for another episode of Indie Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're going to be checking out the alpha version of a puzzle game called MouseCraft by developer Crunching Koalas. The best and easiest way to sort of encapsulate the concept that we're going to see here today, and this is by the developer's own admission, feels a little bit like a hybrid between something like Tetris and something like Lemmings. Now, if you've been with the channel for a while, you'll know that I have a big respect for developers who go for an all-over theme and in a way is very cohesive in their implementation and gameplay, and I feel like MouseCraft is one of those games that really does have a really nice theme when it comes to the visuals, the presentation style, the production value, the gameplay quality and intelligence in the puzzles. They're clever. I think all in all, pretty good stuff. So let's get into things. We'll start off, we'll play a few of the puzzle rounds. I have actually played, I think it's like about 12 or so of the puzzles so far, just to get a handle on it, and if you've also, again, if you've been with the channel for a while, you'll know I'm not always great at puzzle games, so I think from, a little while ago on, I've decided I'm going to try and make an effort to know what I'm doing a little bit better so we don't flounder around too much in the video. So let's look at the options menu. There's not a whole lot here. We can turn sound and music on or off, disable tooltips, and that's about it. So we'll get right into things in the puzzle mode. Again, this is an alpha game right now. This is available actually via the developer, which can then the key can be redeemed via Steam on early access. So if you want to get this game right now, you can actually pay for it in any amount you like on their website and then redeem it for a Steam key. So if you were curious. So here's basically the premise. We've got a mouse wheel here. We've got the mouse in its little, exercise wheel, and we want to get it to the goal, which is over there on the other side. So the premise involves basically doing whatever we have to do to bridge the gap that will result in the mice getting to the cheese. Mice can jump, they can go one tile up, but only one block high. Beyond that, they're not all that useful. They can only fall, I think it's 3 tiles down before they die, and there's ways around that as well. But then we're presented with this block up here, and we can just slot it into position down there. That makes the tiles only 1 tile high, and then the mice will find their way to the exit. So, as is always a great idea with the beginning of any puzzle game, we've got a very simple, easy-to-grasp concept that will be iterated upon little by little until we find ourselves in some pretty complex puzzle territory. Now, at the point that I got to, I think, again, it was like 12 or so puzzles in, things were still, they felt manageable, but I could see that there was a lot of groundwork laid for a pretty decent level of complexity to be had. And by the way, if it turns out that after having played through these, I still end up getting stuck on one of these puzzles, then you have complete free reign to call me out on it, I suppose. So before we actually start the mice on their merry way toward going to the goal, we can just take our time and set up the blocks however we want. You'll see there are there multiple ways I could solve this? There may be, there may not be. Actually, once you've placed one, it's kind of stuck there. In this case, the mice would go up on this block, then fall down into this pit. They would then go up and down over and over through here. That would not be an ideal solution, so we can actually hit undo to get rid of that last action. Then we can replace this block the way it was meant to be placed, like this, where it's not actually a problem for them to go down 1 tile, then back up the other side. And then we've got this last tetramino, however we say that word. I've never quite mastered that one. And they can also be rotated and stuff, but we're not going to bother. I mean, I showed you that a second ago, but we can, find different ways to do things. Anyway, let's release the mice. We can either click on the mouse wheel itself, or we can actually go ahead over to the button and click it, and then we can actually speed things up to get them to their goal a little bit faster if we're feeling particularly impatient. And obviously, you want to try and get all the mice if you can. So far, I haven't really run into a situation where it is difficult to get all 3 of the mice. Usually when you solve the puzzle, but I imagine later on they're going to get splintered and fragmented into different positions on the map, because you will actually be editing things on the fly, so there is actually that to keep in consideration of as well. Then we also introduced some new elements. I think it's like the next level after that, where we're going to have some other stuff to contend with. So in this case, you'll see at the top we've got 1 of these L blocks and 2 of these square blocks, which means all we got to do now, just rotate them into place. Drop 1 there, drop 1 there, and we have solved our puzzle again. So it's, again, a fairly simple premise. Again, we're just iterating on the first concept very slowly to get people acclimated, and I really like how simple this is to step into. You don't feel like it's particularly intimidating. The concept does not require a lot of thought, really, at first. It's just sort of to get you into things. And I like the cartoonish graphic appeal of it. It's got a nice feeling to it. Everything feels very polished. Very well designed, and you'll notice now at the bottom there's this little crystal thing spinning. You're supposed to actually click on that And this is to introduce to us the next element, which is an anima shard. Ancient powerful crystals used as currency in the world of MouseCraft. Collect them to maximize your level score and spend them in our store. So I haven't actually tried spending any in the store just yet, but that is something for another day. So we'll actually introduce those on the next level, and all those are going to do basically is, I think they'll kind of provide a framework for you to carry the mice through. So you have sometimes what would have been an unnecessary position for you to put the mice through to that spot, and maybe it'll introduce an element where there's some divergence in how you might tackle a certain level design. Because if you really wanted to, you could just not get that one at the top there, and it really wouldn't be, any different, but you would miss out on something. So let us see, how are we going to approach this one here? How about something like that? And then we want to... Well, that would work quite easily, right? But then we also want to grab the other one at the top. So what if we do something like this? 3 tiles down shouldn't bother the mice, and those are 1 and 1, so we should be good to go. Let's let them go and grab their crystals, and we'll speed up the timer. There is also a level editor, as you noticed on the title screen, something I haven't actually delved into, but definitely something that's going to be worth looking into. There's going to be a level hub and community interaction and all that, so that should be a lot of fun. The developers are still implementing different elements and different ways in interacting with the game. There's going to be perhaps more blocks, different customization options or themes, and different elements to do with the tiles perhaps as well. All of that's still a bit up in the air, but like I said, this is still alpha, so there is a bit of time to go yet. I think they're aiming for an early 2014 launch on this one. So what do I have here? We can release the mice first, so they're actually telling me what to do. And they will start walking. Wait until the mice reach this spot, and I'll get the tile ready here. And then we're going to want to put the block right here, so they'll be able to go back up in the other direction. You're probably wondering what happens when they reach this wall. Well, that is the end of the stage, so they touch this invisible laser wall that pushes them back in the other direction. I like this fusion of sort of like a wacky science theme. I think that actually works pretty nicely. And I think things are going to go just fine on this puzzle. The gears are turning, the mice are in place, and we've got all the crystals and all the mice, so everybody's happy. The first time when I had them fall too far, I was a little surprised. I didn't think they would actually die, but they turned into little ghosts, and I got kind of sad. So you want to avoid that, if possible. So now this is, I think, the first one that I didn't get the first time I went through this. I think this is, again, one that you want to solve after you start them off and running, because if you try to solve anything right now, and sort of implied by the positioning here, they're just going to end up getting stuck, right? Because whatever happens, they're just going to bounce back and go in the other direction. So let's let them go. And then we will see about positioning them some way. I think we're going to have to go like this, right? There's not really another way to do it. Or, actually, why don't we put this one like... Hang on. How did I actually do this one? Like that, but then what's it going to leave me with the other side? And actually, well, I'm still holding that one. I can't necessarily wait, so we'll have to push them forward. It's going to be like this. And then, what, like that? I think that should actually work, yeah. So you'll see there's actually a number of ways sometimes to approach a level design, and in this case, I think any other way that I would have tried to do it wouldn't have resulted in a win where we get all of the crystals. So it's a kind of an interesting and clever way to approach puzzles in that you can get more out of it depending on how you approach each individual scenario. So we got another perfect there. So far I'm sticking to my template of being able to actually solve the levels I've already solved. And this one is just to introduce the concept of height distance. And this is actually pretty simple. They want you to try this once just to see what happens. Because you'll think, well, wait, this is solvable already. And no, apparently it is not. So that would be a fail condition. Now we can actually just retry that and do it properly. Put the single block down there. And notice they put the one crystal to one tile high to sort of give you a subliminal... Well, maybe not subliminal, but, a little indicator as to where you're supposed to put that block so you don't accidentally put it, vertically oriented or something. Which I think it's a mark of good level design where they don't have to kind of beat you over the head with certain things. They can sort of give you these little cues that are maybe not overt. I don't know, I guess it's up for your own personal interpretation whether or not that counts as overt, but... Anyway, that is another level solved. What level are we on now? I haven't even been keeping track. This is level 8. Okay, so now we've got another situation that's going to require careful attention to detail here. So we've got a little steep cliff, which as you'll notice is now 4 tiles high, keeping to the theme that we've just established on the last one. So the obvious thing would be, since we just had this be our solution, is to put this single block right here. But I feel like that was not how things were solved last time. And we haven't gotten into removing stuff yet, have we? So how am I going to get to all of these at the same time? Well, we can add something after the fact, right? So actually, why don't we just try this once, and we'll see if we can learn from our errors if that is indeed how things go. So we'll grab that. I might be overestimating already how difficult some of these are, because I'm sort of forgetting and operating on false pretenses, and then we want to go like this. Okay, that's all there is to it. It's really not a hard one, actually. And then we'll send them off to their delicious cheese. I like how the mice actually look a little bit like koalas if you took their ears away or shrunk them down quite a bit. Alright, so now we've got a new item here. It looks a little bit like a button ripped off of somebody's, jacket or something. This is a destruction token. Collect them to increase destruction points. They allow you to destroy bricks. You'll see, as we get in, first we introduce the crystals, then we introduce, the falling element, and then we introduce the destruction tokens. Little by little, we are adding more and more elements and iterating on this, what started as a very, very simple concept. You might be familiar if you've ever played with something like Plants vs. Zombies, how they add elements little by little to increase the game into a much more interesting amalgam of different components. So now we can click to enter destruction mode, and this is where we learn what the point of these are. Clicking that and then clicking this brick will destroy it. And then we have a few more tokens that are actually active on the playfield here, and when we start the mice running around, they will actually run into these. And as you'll see, we've got a crystal that's actually locked up underneath this straight block, which normally wouldn't be able to reach at all. So I'm going to start out by going ahead and letting the mice run around, and they're going to grab that one destruction token, which will allow me to then delete this one. Now we're going to have to get to the other one as well, otherwise we'll have no chance. So how are we going to do that? What's the best chance for us to get that? Wait until they're all probably up here. And then how are we going to get them on the other side, though? Well, I accidentally dropped the brick on top of that one, which is not actually the way that I wanted that to go. That is not how you win that level. So we can actually just go backward one, and then we'll go backward another one, and see what we did wrong. Okay, well, we still have this here. I think probably the more obvious thing to do is just let them go by. Then go ahead and use the block that way. As you'll see now, we've got gravity coming into play, where if we delete this, things will actually fall into place, right? So now, we've got the other destruction token, all the crystals, and we can just delete the way onto the goal. So now, what seemed like a very simple, sort of slow-paced linear progression has become a sort of a multifaceted, multitasking-oriented puzzle-solving equation. And it's interesting to wrap your mind around things in such an ever-evolving fashion like that, and to, add gravity into play, to add the deleting of blocks into play. There's not a lot of tiles on the screen at one time, but they make good use of what's there to create pretty captivating, interesting puzzles. Alright, so now we've got a whole different scenario. Things are getting a little bit more complicated, because you'll see behind me, directly to the left, is a destruction token and a crystal, and you'll see the mice are going to start out moving to the right, so we're going to have to find a way around that. We've only got 3 blocks to put into play at all. And I'd say our best bet here, and this is the clue that I've been given here, is we've got this 3-tile blank space. And I like how there's that little laser grid that flashes to give you the idea of where the tiles are, just in case you're having trouble visualizing it. And we're going to use this, perhaps, as a straight across bridge, which will then allow us to get over to the other side there, so we can perhaps get behind the wheel. So let's speed them up. It's going to take a moment, because they're going to go up the wrong way, turn around, then come back. And thank goodness we've got the speed up thing, otherwise that would be a little bit frustrating, perhaps. Now, if we wanted to, we could skip the entirety of the rest of this puzzle and go straight to solving, because right now you can tell if I just deleted that one block, the mice would be able to get through. So that is not what we want to do, though. We want to actually go ahead and let them into the other crystal here. And hopefully, once they get off, and I haven't actually planned this far ahead yet, but hopefully once they get across here, we should be able to build some sort of a creation that will allow them passage up. I may have already messed this up, because I'm not actually remembering what the path was to get us through to the above area. This is how we would get up here, I suppose. So we just need to provide that one other block, which would be right here, I guess. And then, when they get up there, we'll let them all get into that corner and grab the other tile. Oh, he actually didn't get squished there. Good. So that should give us what we need to then delete the other remaining block, grab the last crystal, and we actually end up with one more destruction block than is even necessary, or tile, token, whatever. And that actually worked out just fine. So we've got a complete level, all the crystals, all the mice, and now look at this. We've got this new block, which is, what is it called, the bubble or the jelly block? The jelly brick. Okay, softens mice's fall and prevents them from dying when jumping for more than 3 units. So they actually have a little trampoline to land on. Isn't that nice? So I think we'll do one more here, and then we will wrap things up. Because I think you're probably getting a decent idea, and I also don't want to show too much of the game to spoil the puzzles. It's the kind of thing where once you've seen the correct solution, it's like you've seen the correct solution. And I'm not exactly sure the scope of how many levels there will be in total right now. Might still be up in flux, I'm not 100% sure on that. So we want to place the jelly bricks to soften the mice's fall, and what is the best position for me to drop this in? Because right now, if I put it down here, that seems like the most obvious way to go, right? But I'm not going to have access to any of the destruction tokens, unless do I have one already in my inventory? I do. Alright, so that is something to be aware of. So let's just put this here. We can actually go ahead and just delete this outright. Oh no, we want to wait. Hang on, how do I want to do this? Because if I delete this... Okay, we just want to wait, delete that one. Actually, we can delete it right now. They'll get that. When they come back down, delete the other one, and then they're good to go back up. So you got to plan this whole little expedition out before everything starts moving. And then hopefully things just fall into place after you've got a good idea of what's going on. So let's delete the other one. Hopefully that last mouse. Yep, he grabbed the last crystal. And we did a straight shot from the left to the right and back to the left, where everything is now solved and complete. So that should be, I think, a decent quick look at what to expect from MouseCraft. I really like it. I wasn't sure what to expect from this one. I mean, the concept of Tetris plus Lemmings at face value seems like it could kind of go either way, right? But I think it actually is done in a really captivating and interesting way. And I'm pretty happy to have had a chance to get a look at this. I'm excited to see where they go with the future of this game, and I think it has a lot of promise. So if you want to go check it out, like I mentioned, head over to the developer's website, where you can pay whatever you want for this game, and you'll get a Steam key out of it, which will then give you access to what is available right now and future updates, and things like the level editor and all of that as things go forward. I haven't even mentioned excellent soundtrack also. I don't think I actually spent much of time on that, but I think it is quite nice. You'll see there's this world map here. Things go forward. I'm at 12 now. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more in this one, and then there's another schematic map, which looks like another level world map going forward, and things are probably going to get much, much more difficult when we get out to that point. And I think that's going to pretty much do it. So thank you everybody for watching. As always, remember to check out the description if you want to find out more about this game. All the links will be available in there. So the Steam Early Access link, the developer's webpage, if you want to go on and grab yourself a copy right now, feel free. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And puzzle games in general, I'm a huge fan of them. Like I said, though, earlier, I'm not always great at them. So I really do like when they take a sort of a sweeping, ever-evolving approach with how they iterate on the puzzle design. I think they did it just right here to not alienate people as it starts out, while still providing a pretty good challenge that should be, decent for people who get quite facile with the concepts that are being thrown around. So let me know if you agree with that concept, how you feel that level progression was. And of course, if you happen to pick up the game, let me know what your impressions are as well. I'd love to hear from you on that too. But aside from the game links, there's also my social media links in the description if you want to check out my Facebook, my Twitter, any of the other stuff like my Twitch, or of course, indie-impressions.com, the website that I've posted where I post every single day's Indie Impressions video. You can check out almost 600 other episodes in the series over there. So if you're looking for anything in particular, they're all sorted and categorized. Should make things a little bit easier. So take a visit, see what you think, come on back, and hopefully visit for another episode tomorrow, because I do new indie impressions every single day without fail on youtube.com/RockLeeSmile. I say that in case you happen to find this video in some other place other than my channel itself, and plenty of places end up posting these videos depending on what the actual game was. But anyway, that is going to do it. Thank you one last time, and I hope to see you again tomorrow. Have a lovely night, guys. Later.